Okay, so that was all about like, well, there was the midterm exam redux, and then after that, it was all about refactoring this. We had to change some things about users, just one thing really, so that we can get the hash password in there. Had to change from varchar 45 to char 255, and then we tried refactoring the database here, which got kind of messy, but in the end, we got it done, sort of. So let's go ahead and do what's the actual topic for today, which is creating users. Now this is why I knew we were going to have a bunch of stuff to do. I think I can finally close this guy here. I knew we were going to have a bunch of stuff to do, and that's one reason why we're not going through like all the chapter exercises. I don't think we really have time for it. Certainly not today, and probably not on Wednesday either. So
We just did. Did we turn it in under chapter 7 or lab 7, chapter 8?
no, actually, this is just for the this is just for your projects. So everything that we've done so far is not really chapter 7 stuff, except maybe the changing the data type on the password. And I'm not sure if that's even in there. The next chapter is the chapter 18 is about authentication, and what they're talking about there is creating new users. So far, this semester and last semester, we have been just using one user to access the MySQL server, and that has been the root user. So we set up the root user under local instance 3306. You guys created a password, and we've just been accessing it over and over again based on that. But what we can do is we can add more users under MySQL user, which have almost always fewer privileges than the root user has. The root user, as you guys know, you can do anything in here you want to, right? It's your playground. It's your domain. You can create new databases. You can create new tables in the databases. You can alter them. You can drop tables. You can drop databases. You can insert. You can do whatever you want to, right? There's no restrictions here at all. That's just for the root user. You do not want like all of the users and script writers and editors and content developers, and so you do not want them having that same access to your root. You do not. You want to tell them what kind of privileges they're allowed to have. You want to say, okay, so on this particular table, all you can do is read from it. You can do a select statement, and that's it. I'm not letting you do anything else. Nothing. This other one, this users table, okay, yeah, I'll give you insert on there so you can create new entries, and yeah, maybe you need to have like an update so a user can change their password, a delete so a user can delete their account, what have you. But so I'll specifically give you those permissions on that table. And for the big table, the big books table here, I'm not letting you do anything except for select. So that's what you want to do. And this is actually the next thing you'll be doing for your project as well after like reconfiguring it, or not reconfiguring it, I'm sorry, refactoring it, is to go ahead and create a new user. And I've given instruction on this on the classroom. You want to name it, the new user is going to be the name of your app, whatever it is, and then an underscore, and then admin. So like mine would be Book Trader Demo Admin, which is kind of a ridiculous title, but that's what I'm going to call it. Really, this is just a demo. If I were actually doing a book trader, it would be called Book Trader instead of Book Trader Demo. And Book Trader Admin sounds a little bit better than Book Trader Demo Admin. But I'll go ahead and stick with my naming convention here. Let's go ahead and open up a new SQL script here. So I'm just going to do a couple of things so that we can take a look at what these things look like, these users. And check this out. So this is the first script that I'm going to run. And you guys want to write this one too. Type this in so that you can do this again later. This is the SQL script that you're actually going to submit to the chapter demo for today. So first of all, I'm going to do a select all. And you might think, oh, great. Okay, we're accessing a table here, aren't we? Well, yes and no. This actually is a table, but it's one of the server tables. It's defined for us. We can modify it, we can add entries and delete entries and so on, but it's not a table that we created, it's there. And the table is going to be MySQL.user. So select all from mysql.user. And here's that keyword. Here's where I like using like username instead of user, although I think I used user on the other one. But anyway, go ahead and try this one. Do a select all. Let me clear this action output here for a second. Tidy it up. And do a control enter on this guy. And what am I doing wrong here? MySQL.user. As far as I know, this should work. Let me copy this. It looks like it's going to be just one of those unhelpful ones that says I've got an error somewhere around line whatever. MySQL.user. And what am I doing wrong? Boy, this is not my night tonight, is it? That should totally work. Let me try something different. Oh, I didn't put in... I know what it is. You guys, I'm tired. And you guys, you should have been able to catch this right away. I'm not the only one, okay? That was a newbie error. You guys know this is what it looks like when you're selecting from a table, right? Select all from, and don't, yeah, okay. Noob. Try that one. Select all from MySQL.user, and there we go.
See, I thought it was on, but I thought you were teaching us a new trick.
No, nothing nearly so grand as that. Let me pull this up a little bit if it lets me. Yeah, so this is, these are all the users that I've got on here that I've created over the years or whatever. I've got something called AP Tester. There's App Admin, which I create. AP Tester, I think, was created with the textbook databases. There's ones here that are listed under MySQL. Here's the root user. That's the one we've been using so far. And so on. So all of these guys are going to be listed under select all from MySQL.user. So this creates a big, this has got a lot of columns in it, right? It gets really messy because there's so much stuff in here. But let's do one that's a little bit, I don't know, a little easier to read. And we will select certain columns from this. And this time I will remember the from clause. Sheesh. I need to get some sleep here. Okay, so this one time we're going to do, we're going to select host. And let's see, what else do we want? Let's select user and plugin and authentication string. Okay, so let me get rid of the result grid here. Okay. This is what this guy looks so like. Instead of getting select all, it's going to grab all those columns. As you guys know, it selects the entire table. Here we can specify which columns we want. So these are 4 that I find useful. Host, user, plugin, and authentication string. So do a control enter on these guys. And there we go. So the host here, some of you may have come across the term localhost before. This is basically, this is a development runtime environment here that we can set up. It's like a virtual host. A virtual web server, if you will, on your own system, where you can set up a web server and have it deliver files in the same way that an actual web server would, except you just do it over your own browser on your own machine. So that's what localhost means here. When you take it, like back-end web programming, you'll become very familiarized with that term, localhost versus like an actual IP address on a web server. And then here are the username that we've got. And then the plugin, this has to do with what kind of hashing system is being used for the password. And the default is this caching SHA-2 password. SHA-2 is the one that we were using before. And this is the hashed password, the authentication string. Luckily, we don't have to remember all this when we're logging in. We just remember our own password. This will make it somewhat more difficult for a hacker to figure out what those passwords might be if they were trying to access the server without permissions. So that's what these 4 guys mean. It's a little bit more of a digestible table. If you need something besides those, then of course you can look for those, do a select all, and then look for those other columns in there. Yes,
Is
question?
there a reason that you didn't capitalize the
You know, I don't think it matters here, actually. I think this is just kind of, I think this is just, what you call it, habit. Yeah, it works without it. I think I'm just in the habit of capitalizing those, but they don't actually need to be. Let's try off the capitalizing plugin. Oops, without the punctuation. Yeah, so no reason. Just what you're used to seeing, that's all. I'm used to seeing it this way, so that's the way I type it. Okay, cool. So that's just kind of introducing you to what the users look like. Let's go ahead and make a user here. So um, we should still be using Book Trader demo, and actually, no, we're not, but it doesn't really matter if we are or not, because we're creating a user kind of outside of the databases and then telling the system what permissions we want them to have on which tables. So I'm going to go ahead and create user and give your user a name. So I was saying this is going to be the name of your app plus an underscore and the word admin. So if my app really were named Book Trader Demo, then I would call my user Book Trader Demo Admin. And for this one, we have to tell it also not only the name, but the host. It needs both of those. That's how this thing is identified between the username and the host that they're on. And we're going to be using localhost. So Book Trader Demo Admin at localhost. Like so. And at the same time we do that, we got to give this guy a password. So what I've been telling you guys to do is that when you create your user, here's the naming for that user that I want you to use. And for now, just give them a password of password. I know we just talked about how you don't want to do that. This is just to make life easy on me. When you guys submit your databases here, I'm going to try to set up the users just the way you've got them. And I'm just going to use password for everybody's password. So, and then when I compare my notes against you, everything will match up and I don't have to remember passwords for each and every one, okay? So the way that you do that here is you do it by identified by. And to get the SHA on there, let's see, no, we don't even want to use that because even if you don't specify, like there's a way you can do like SHA2 and you do it as a function that looks a little bit different, but if you don't specify any cache or hashing system, it's going to use this guy right here, the caching SHA2 password, which should be fine. So all you have to do is just tell it what password you want here. I'm just going to type in password. Remember the quotes on this one. Identified by password. And I'm going to hit Control Enter and try it out. There we go. It's green. Once we do that, go back up to one of these select statements, either one, and hit Control Enter. Try that one out. And now we should see there's the Book Trader Demo Admin. The plugin, see it added it for us. It's on localhost, and here's like the hashed authentication string over here. And there, so we've just created a user. So let's give them some permissions. Come on, there we go. And so the permissions here is going to be a grant. So we're going to do grant select. This is the first one. So we want to tackle the big data table first. So this is going to be in my books table. And I want them, like I was saying, the big data table, you want your users to only be able to select from. You don't want them to do anything else to it. You certainly don't want them altering the table. You don't want them adding any entries or deleting any entries, for goodness sake, anything like that. So we're just going to grant select, and that's it. So we're going to grant select on. Now you got to give it the name of the database here. Remember, we're not using a particular database right here, right? Nothing is selected. So grant select on booktrader demo.books, like this. to, and then give it the user that you want to grant the select to. So it's going to be book trader demo admin. And once again, just like when we were creating the user, we had to tell it localhost. You have to tell it here too, at localhost. Otherwise, it will not work. So I'm going to do Control Enter. There we go. We just granted a select on here. So here's something else you can do. In addition to doing this thing up here where we were doing select all from MySQL.user, let's do a show grants. So this is how you can see here what kind of permissions this user has so far. So show grants on book trader demo admin. And let's see, what am I missing here? Show grants. Oh yeah, of course. You got to put it in the at localhost. You always got to do that, and I often forget. So Control Enter, and it still doesn't work. Show grants. Trader demo admin at localhost. Let's see. On. Not 4, is it? Yeah, that's it. Sorry. I was using on instead of for. So show grants for book trader demo admin at localhost. So here is like the only 2 grants that have been added. Now we could have done this before we did the grant select. As soon as you create a user, as soon as we did this guy, if we ran it, then we would already see 1 grant. It would say grant usage on everything. This is misleading. What it means, when you see grant usage and nothing else, what that means is that this user doesn't have any permissions yet. It's just like, it's like a default placeholder. It's like a null value or something. Grant usage on everything, which means, yeah, there's nothing this guy can do yet. But here's the next one we added. Grant select on book trader demo and books. And that's it. So that's the only thing they can do. They can select from that table, and that's it. Let's do at least one more here. And let's say the users table. I'm not going to mess with the users books table right now because I'm still trying to hammer that down. So, but let's at least do the users table. So the users table is a little different. We want the backend admin to be able to add entries. So insert. Want them to be able to delete entries if a user wants to delete their account. Want them to be able to update entries because of passwords and so on. So we want to be able to grant all that stuff onto the users. So let's do another grant statement here. So this is going to be grant, and this time we're going to do select, insert, update, and delete. So all of these things we want them to be able to do, but not to the books, but definitely to the users. So this is going to be on, let's see, book trader demo dot users and to book trader demo admin, and don't forget the at localhost, as I often do. Okay, so the first one was just granting select only on books. This is going to grant all this stuff on users. So let's go ahead and run this one. And then once again, do the show grants and see what it looks like. So here we've added another one. It keeps the grant usage, which is just like the, yeah, you can't do anything. Oh, look, you can do the select on books, and oh, bliss, you can do all this stuff on, and you can't see it here, but it is, there we go, on users. So all that stuff is on users.
Hey, Mr. Lu.
Yes.
For me, it keeps saying you're not allowed to create a user with grant.
Okay, so yeah, I know what that error is. I think that means like if you're trying to run this statement and it's like it's got to be a typo down here somewhere. Either this is misspelled or you forgot to do localhost or something like that, and basically it thinks you're trying to create a new user here. Is it possible it's one of those two things?
Let me double check.
Okay, well, we're almost done with the recording here. So once I get the recording stopped, let's go ahead and have you share screen and we'll take a look at it and see what's going on.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure when I've run into that error before, it's when I had a little bit of a typo in here, or I forgot to put localhost and it thought I was trying to create a new user and it's saying, hey, you can't do that under the grant clause here. So we'll check that out in just a minute. Okay, so this is it. Let me go ahead and get rid of the result grid real quick. So this is it. So this is the chapter 18 stuff. There's a lot of stuff in chapter 18 that we're not doing because I wanted to do the other stuff. I wanted to go over the midterm exam and I wanted to do all of this refactoring stuff on the database. But before we stop the demo, even though we're not doing any more scripting, let's take our new user for a test run here. Let's try it out. Let's see if we can connect to MySQL Server using the book trader demo admin at localhost. So let me go ahead and close the diagram here and this guy just to get him out of the way. And I'm going to go to the Home tab here and go to the Connections, where it says MySQL Connections here. And here's the local instance. Here's another user that I created before. I don't know what that is. I probably have to delete that at some point. But let's go ahead and add a new MySQL connection. So make sure you're on this, the Home tab, and then under the first of the pipe, here where it shows the schema, and hit the plus under MySQL connections. And let's give it a connection name. So you can call it something more simple. You don't have to type the whole thing out here. I'll call it just like, was it BT demo admin, like this? So BTD admin if you don't feel like typing the whole thing out.
We can see that page.
Oh, you can't see this page. Good to know. Thank you. Let me go ahead and I'll need to switch the, oh, I'm still recording on the full display, so that's fine. Let me stop the presenting and I will present the whole page. Thank you for letting me know. Oh, looks like we lost somebody. I guess I can't blame you guys tonight. Okay, so I'm right here. I went to the Home tab and then the Connections, MySQL Connections. Let's hit the plus. And I'm just going to call this book trader demo. I'm just going to call it the same name as the schema. That actually makes more sense to me than putting in the admin name. That way I could be super clear, unlike this other one that I have down here that I'm not sure what it was about. If I look at this in a year, I'll know exactly what it was. So that actually probably makes sense. Okay, so the username, the name of the user that to connect with, this has to be what the user that we created on that SQL tab. So this one's got to be the book trader, not Trander, but trader demo admin with all the underscores and everything. Okay, so we're giving it a new name and we're typing in the same username as the one we just created. And let's go ahead and test the connection before we do anything else. So this button down here, the first of the three, test connection, and then it's going to ask you for the password. And what did we say? Okay, these are all called passwords. So I'm just going to type in password here, click OK, and it's going to tell me if it was successful or not. And in this case, it says it successfully made the MySQL connection. Hooray! I like that. Click OK.
I think they should change the tone for that message.
Oh yeah, what should it be changed to?
Something that doesn't make me that doesn't make me think something went wrong right away.
Sounds like an error. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I get you now. Okay, so hopefully that worked for everyone. Now, after you've tested the connection, it shouldn't make you ask for the password again if you click OK. And there it goes. It's there. There's the book trader demo. I'm going to click on it. Now look at this. I've got two tabs. I've got one that says local instance 3306 and another one that's called book trader demo. So I'm just going to try a couple of things here. Not much. I just want to show you how this works. I'm going to do in just a couple of simple queries here and check out what the permissions might be for this book trader demo user. So first of all, let's just go ahead and tackle the books table. And by the way, take a look over here into the navigator. See, there's the book trader demo schema, and there's the tables, books and users. I think I might have gotten rid of the other one. Oh no, I didn't. I'm sorry. The book I didn't grant any permissions on this, so it's actually invisible to this user. Like this user does not even know that there's a user's books table. They don't have access to it at all. And notice there's no other databases that show up here, right? Just this one database that we've granted permissions on these two tables. So let's do a simple select here. You guys don't need to do this. Just watch here if you want to, but you can try it on your own. Select all from books. And no database selected. So our old friend, let's go ahead and you can either double click over on the right hand side there, or do what I do and go to use book trader demo. There we go. And then select all from books and kaboom. Okay, so I'm able to do this stuff. So let's try something else. Let's try doing a delete. So I'm going to delete from books where ID equals 10 and try to get rid of this last entry and see if it lets me do it. Remember, we only granted the select permission on this table to this user. But let's try it. Let's test it, okay? I'll do a delete from books where ID equals 10. Trying to get rid of that last entry, Aperium. I don't like it. And I want to get rid of it, and can't do it. And it says delete command denied to user book trader demo admin at localhost. Let me go ahead and copy that. Paste it up here so that you guys can see it. There it is. This user is not allowed to delete anything from this table. They are not allowed to add anything to the table. They're not allowed to alter the table, update the entries, delete the entries, nothing. The only thing that we can do to this guy is do the select, and that's it. So that's how users work, more or less. Like I said, there's a lot of more stuff in the chapter, but this is what you guys actually need to know for your projects. So this is the part that I just want turned in. I don't need you to show that you went into like this other login and tried it and whatever. This is the important thing over here. This is the stuff that I want to check. So save this as an SQL file, your last name. I think I went ahead and said to name it CH18, even though we're not actually doing a chapter. We'll do the same thing on Wednesday probably. And then for your project, what you want to do is do the same things that we did here tonight. Let me see if I can access this here. Where am I? There's the class. And so classwork, these are the two things that I put up there. Under week 4, this is the chapter 18 lab that we're doing today. That's where you submit what we just did. And then the project here, refactoring your data and creating a new MySQL user. So refactoring, let me go ahead and just crack this open here. Refactoring is doing what we did first after the midterm exam redux. Create that junction table in between your users table and your big data table, and then add other columns as necessary. So I will do my best to this evening figure out exactly what went wrong with mine, but in the meantime you can do it just the way that I did on that last iteration of it, where I went ahead and used the verbose, creating constraints and adding foreign keys that way and so on. I will take that code and I will copy and paste it into like the chat box or whatever before you guys leave tonight. So once you're done with that, the idea was to create an EER diagram from the new database structure. You can scratch that for right now. Once I'm making sure that all the code is the way it needs to be and everything is kosher, then we can do that on Wednesday. So you don't need to worry about creating an EER diagram. Just try to get it done for your database and we'll take a look at them on Wednesday. And then the other thing is to create the new MySQL user, which is the last thing we did here. And as you can see, it doesn't take that much to do. You create the new user, and then you grant permissions. Only select on your big data table, and then the other ones on your users table. And yeah, and then you can save your script from that and submit that as well. So yeah, those are the two things that you want to do for your project for next up. So as a reminder where we're going for now, this is like one of the last things we're going to do. On Wednesday, I'll show you guys how to back up your database, and that's how you're going to submit your database to me so that I install it on my end and then try running queries on it. And then Monday of next week, a week from today, the very last thing we'll do is we'll create queries that will do what the user ought to be able to do in your app. So we'll be doing subqueries and joins in order to select from your big data table and show that along with the username or whatever. That's the very last thing that we'll do for the project. Okay, boy, I sure yacked at you a lot tonight, didn't I? I'm sorry about that. I hate it when instructors just won't shut up, but it was kind of necessary today. Part of the problem was that I ran into trouble, which caused some detours. But I'm finally done. Any questions about the creating the new user or about what to do next for your project? I wouldn't be surprised if there are, by the way. If there are, go ahead and let me know. Okay, cool. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording here. I'll stop the share as well.